The sun was just coming up over West Texas. The land looked dry, endless, unforgiving. Chris sat behind the wheel of a dusty pickup truck. He gripped the steering wheel, his jaw tight. Next to him, Ben lit a cigarette, smirking like he had nothing to lose. Chris whispered, "We hit the bank. We're in and out in 3 minutes. No guns unless we have to." Ben laughed under his breath. 3 minutes? Little brother, sometimes you gotta make some noise to get heard. The truck rolled to a stop outside a small-town bank. The sign creaked in the wind. Inside, one sleepy guard leaned on the counter, half asleep. Chris pulled a black mask over his face. His hands trembled just for a second. He thought of his kids, of the ranch he was about to lose. Ben kicked open the bank doors, shotgun in hand. "Nobody move. Hands where I can see 'em." The guard froze. The teller screamed. Chris shouted, "Just the cash. Put it in the bag. Hurry." The clock ticked. 2 minutes in. Ben shoved the bag across the counter, eyes wild, finger tight on the trigger. They ran out with money stuffed in a duffel bag. Back in the truck, dirt flying behind them, Chris gasped for breath. "We can't keep this up, Ben." Ben grinned, rolling down the window. "We just got started." Miles away, an old Texas Ranger named Jeff sat in his office. He looked at the morning report of the robbery, his partner standing at the door. Jeff rubbed his tired eyes, almost smiling. "2 brothers knocking off banks in my backyard. Guess retirement's gonna have to wait." The hunt had just begun. The brothers drove through empty highways, the stolen cash on the seat between them. Chris stared out the window, silent. Ben hummed along to the radio, like nothing in the world could touch him. Chris finally spoke. "We lay low, pay off some of the debt. That's it." Ben smirked. "You think 1 bank's enough? Those bastards want everything. We take more. We bleed 'em dry." The truck pulled into a rundown gas station. Chris bought a soda, glanced at the newspaper stand. On the front page, "Small-town bank hit by masked gunmen." His stomach twisted. They were already headlines. That same afternoon, Jeff sat in his cruiser with his young partner, Daniels. The old ranger chewed on a toothpick, eyes fixed on the road ahead. "They'll hit again," he muttered. Daniels frowned. "Why? They already got cash." Jeff shook his head. "This ain't about one score. It's about survival. Desperate men don't stop until somebody makes them." The next morning, another small bank sat quiet in the desert town of Dry Creek. Inside, the tellers counted bills. The sheriff drank coffee, half asleep. Then the door slammed open. Ben stormed in, mask on, shotgun raised. "On the floor. Now." Chris followed, nervous, forcing calm into his voice. "We don't want trouble. Just the money. Fast." The sheriff reached for his gun. Ben spotted him, eyes narrowing. "Don't even think about it, old man." Chris's heart pounded. He knew this was the moment things could spiral out of control. Outside, a woman by the diner window grabbed her phone, dialing 911. Her hands shook as she whispered, "They're here. The bank's being robbed." Minutes later, Jeff's radio crackled in his car. "A robbery in progress. Dry Creek." He looked at Daniels, a grim smile on his weathered face. "Told you, they can't help themselves." And with sirens wailing in the distance, the brothers loaded the last stack of cash into their bag. Unaware the Rangers were closing in. The sirens grew louder. Red and blue lights flashed against the windows of the Dry Creek Bank. Chris cursed under his breath. Ben, we gotta go. Now. Ben grinned like a wolf. Finally, some action. They bolted out the doors with the duffel bag. A squad car screeched to a stop in the street. 2 deputies stepped out, guns drawn. Drop the bag. Hands up. One of them shouted. Chris froze, raising his hands just enough to buy a second. Ben didn't hesitate. He raised the shotgun and fired. The blast echoed through the empty town. A deputy dove for cover, glass shattering behind him. The other returned fire, bullets sparking off the brick wall. Chris dragged his brother toward the truck. Are you insane? You just shot a cop. Ben laughed, loading another shell. And I'll shoot another if they don't move. They roared off in the truck, tires burning rubber. The deputies scrambled for their car, calling for backup. Half a mile down the road, Jeff and Daniels were speeding toward town. They heard the gunfire before they even saw the bank. Daniels gripped the wheel tight. They're shooting at cops, Jeff. These guys aren't stopping. The old ranger's face was calm, almost sad. Told you, son. Desperate men don't think straight. They'll keep running till there's nothing left. Back in the truck, Chris slammed his fist against the steering wheel. His voice cracked. This wasn't the deal, Ben. No blood. No killing. Ben leaned back, smoke curling from the shotgun barrel. The deal's whatever keeps us alive. Behind them, sirens chased across the desert highway, dust clouds rising, engines roaring. The brothers were running out of road. The desert highway stretched empty, sun burning the horizon. Chris pushed the truck as fast as it would go, sweat dripping down his face. Ben leaned out the window, firing a warning shot at the sirens behind them. The deputy's car swerved, but kept coming. And farther back, a second cruiser appeared. Jeff and Daniels. Jeff spoke into the radio. Calm. Steady. Don't spook him. Let him run. They'll make a mistake soon enough. Daniels frowned. They already shot at cops. What if they don't stop? Jeff's eyes never left the road. Then we end it. Up ahead, the brothers spotted a dirt turnoff leading into the hills. Chris yanked the wheel, the truck skidding off the asphalt in a storm of dust. They bounced over rocks, speeding toward an abandoned oil pump yard. Chris killed the engine, breathing hard. We hide here. Let it cool off. Ben grinned, reloading his shotgun. Or we wait for him to come. Give him a little welcome party. Chris grabbed his brother's arm. Enough. We're not soldiers. We're just 2 guys trying to save a damn ranch. Ben's eyes burned. No, Chris. You're trying to save it. I'm just trying to burn the world down while we can. In the distance, engines rumbled closer. Dust clouds rose on the horizon. Jeff's cruiser stopped at the edge of the dirt road. He stepped out slow, scanning the ground. He saw the fresh tire tracks, the dust still hanging in the air. His hand rested on the grip of his revolver. They're here, he muttered. Daniels checked his rifle nervously. So what now? Jeff squinted into the hills, a shadow crossing his face. Now we see what kind of men they really are. In the oil yard, Ben cocked the shotgun, hiding behind rusted metal. Chris crouched low, torn between fear and guilt. The sound of boots crunching gravel echoed closer. The hunters and the hunted were about to collide. The air was still in the abandoned oil yard. Only the creak of old machinery and the crunch of boots on gravel. Chris crouched behind a rusted barrel, breathing hard. His hands trembled against the pistol grip. He whispered, God, don't let this happen. Ben, on the other hand, was alive with fire. He grinned, shotgun ready, whispering like a child about to open a present. Here they come. Jeff moved first. Slow, careful. His revolver steady, his eyes scanning the shadows. Daniels followed, nervous but sharp, rifle tight against his shoulder. Then it happened. A flash of steel. Ben stepped out, firing the shotgun. The blast ripped through the yard. Bullets cracked back in reply. Daniels dove for cover, glass shattering from an old pump house window. Chris shouted, "Stop shooting! Ben, stop!" But Ben ignored him, firing again and again, laughing between each shot. Jeff slid behind a pile of scrap, his voice calm but cutting through the chaos. "Boys, it's over. Lay down the guns before someone don't get up again." Chris's chest heaved. For a moment he almost dropped his pistol. But Ben grabbed him, dragging him deeper behind cover. "Don't listen to that old bastard. We're not done yet." Daniels fired back, a bullet sparking inches from Ben's head. Ben just smiled wider, teeth bared. The yard echoed with gunfire, the smell of smoke and dust thick in the air. Chris felt the walls closing in, every second louder, hotter, deadlier. And then a sharp cry. Daniels staggered, a red stain spreading across his shirt. He dropped to the ground, clutching his side. Jeff's face hardened, the calm gone. His voice dropped low, almost a growl. "You boys just made this personal." The gunfight was no longer a standoff. It was war. Smoke drifted through the oil yard. The sound of gunfire had faded into silence, but the air still buzzed with danger. Chris pressed his back against a rusted tank, chest heaving. His ears rang. He looked at Ben, wild-eyed, grinning like a man already halfway to hell. "We gotta go," Chris hissed. "Daniels is down. The others will call in more. We won't make it." Ben's smile didn't fade. "Then we don't run. We fight our way out." Chris grabbed him by the collar. "This isn't a damn war, Ben. This is survival." Ben shoved him off, eyes blazing. "Survival means killing anyone in our way." Across the yard, Jeff knelt by Daniels. Blood seeped through the young deputy's uniform. Daniels groaned, pale, clinging to consciousness. Jeff pressed a hand on the wound, whispering, "Stay with me, son. Don't you quit on me now." Then he stood, slow, heavy, like a man carrying both rage and sorrow. His revolver gleamed in the fading light. He called out, voice booming across the yard. "Chris, Ben, you hear me? I'm not letting you slip away. Not after this." The brothers sprinted for the truck, bullets pinging off steel around them. Chris fired blind, covering their escape. Ben turned, aimed steady, and fired a shot that nearly clipped Jeff's hat clean off. The truck roared to life. Dust exploded as the tires spun. Chris drove, hands shaking on the wheel, while Ben leaned out the window, still firing at the shrinking figures in the yard. Behind them, Jeff stood tall, gun raised, eyes locked on the fleeing truck. He didn't shoot. Not yet. He just watched, memorizing every sound of the engine, every cloud of dust. Daniels groaned from the ground, whispering, We let them go." Jeff's face was stone. "No, son. We follow, and we don't stop till it's finished." The chase wasn't over. It was only just beginning. Night fell over the border town. Neon lights flickered above bars and motels, casting long shadows on the dusty streets. Chris parked the truck behind an old garage, engine ticking hot. He sat in silence, staring at his trembling hands. Ben lit a cigarette, calm as ever, smoke curling into the night. "We lay low here," Chris muttered. "Couple days. Maybe we can slip south." Ben laughed softly. "South? You mean Mexico? You think life's waiting for us down there?" Chris's voice cracked. "At least it's not prison. At least my kids won't have to watch me rot." Ben flicked his ash. "Kids don't need a broke father, Chris. They need a legend." Meanwhile, on the highway, Jeff drove in silence. Daniels lay in the back seat, patched up, drifting in and out of pain. The old ranger's eyes were fixed on the road ahead, hard as steel. Daniels whispered, weak but steady, You really think they'll stop?" Jeff shook his head. "Men like that don't stop. They just run out of road." By midnight, Jeff's cruiser rolled into the same town. He killed the headlights, parking on a dark side street. He could feel it, like a scent in the air. The brothers were here. In a small motel room, Chris sat on the edge of the bed, counting the cash again and again, as if the numbers might somehow save him. Ben cleaned his shotgun on the table, humming a tune, eyes shining with madness. Then a sound outside, boots on gravel. Chris froze. Ben cocked the shotgun, whispering with a grin. Guess the lawman finally caught up. Through the thin curtains, Chris saw a shadow move under the neon sign. Slow, patient, the silhouette of a man who had hunted before. Jeff was here, and in the silence of that border town, the trap began to close. The motel was silent, except for the hum of the neon sign outside. Chris held his breath, pistol heavy in his hand. Ben grinned, shotgun ready, eyes wild. "He's out there," Chris whispered. "We can still run." Ben shook his head. "No running. Not tonight." Outside, Jeff stepped slow, revolver in hand, boots crunching gravel. His voice cut through the dark. "Chris, Ben, it ends here. Don't make me put you in the ground." Chris's heart pounded. He thought of his kids, of the ranch, of everything slipping away. "We can give up, Ben. Maybe we still have a chance." Ben's eyes burned. "There's no chance. Only bullets." The door exploded open. Ben fired first. The shotgun blast lit up the night. Jeff dove for cover, returning fire, the motel wall splintering into dust. Chris stumbled outside, gun in his shaking hand. He froze, caught between his brother's madness and the ranger's steady aim. Jeff's voice came hard, commanding. "Chris, drop it. You're not like him. Walk away while you can." For a second, Chris almost did. Then Ben screamed, firing again, bullets sparking off Jeff's car. The old ranger rolled, took aim, and fired once. Ben jerked back, the shotgun slipping from his hands. He collapsed against the doorway, blood spreading fast across his shirt. His eyes found Chris. He smiled weakly. "Guess I finally made some noise." Then he went still. Chris dropped to his knees, tears streaming, the pistol falling from his grip. "God, Ben, no." Jeff approached, revolver steady but eyes heavy with sorrow. He spoke low. "It was always gonna end like this." Chris looked up, broken. "What happens to me now?" Jeff holstered his gun, standing over him in the red glow of the neon sign. "Now you live with it." The sirens grew louder, flashing lights closing in. Chris bowed his head, hands raised, as the weight of everything crashed down. The ranch, the money, his brother's blood. It was all gone. And as the night swallowed the border town, only the ranger stood tall, a weary shadow, watching another story end in tragedy.